Derek Martinez checked his watch for the third time in as many minutes. 11:15. His interview was at noon, and he was still 20 minutes from downtown in good traffic. In this rain, maybe 30. He gripped the steering wheel tighter, willing the cars ahead to move faster. This interview was everything. 3 months of unemployment had drained his savings to almost nothing. His daughter Emma's school fees were overdue. The rent was coming due. This job at Meridian Tech could change everything. His phone buzzed. A text from his neighbor Mrs. Patterson, who watched Emma after school. "Emma's science project looks great. Good luck today. You've got this." Derek smiled despite his nerves. Emma had worked so hard on that project about renewable energy. She was 10 years old and already smarter than he'd ever been. Her mother would have been so proud. Sarah had died 4 years ago, a brain aneurysm that took her in minutes. One moment she was laughing at dinner, the next she was gone. Derek had been left alone with a 6-year-old in grief so heavy he could barely stand, but he'd stood anyway. For Emma, always for Emma. The rain intensified, drumming harder against the windshield. Derek's wipers struggled to keep up. Through the blur he saw the sleek red sports car ahead, a Ferrari or something equally expensive. It stood out among the practical sedans and SUVs crawling through the storm. Then the sports car pulled over suddenly, hazard lights blinking. Derek's instinct was to keep driving. He had an interview. He couldn't afford delays. But as he started to pass, he saw her. A woman in a striking amber dress stood beside the car, rain soaking through the elegant fabric. She was trying to change a tire, but her hands kept slipping on the wet lug wrench. Even from his car, Derek could see she was struggling, her dress clinging uncomfortably, her long hair plastered to her face. "Keep driving," the practical voice in his head urged. "You can't be late. This job is everything." But another voice, the one that sounded like Sarah, whispered differently. "Someone needs help." Derek pulled over behind the sports car and grabbed the emergency poncho from his glove box. He jumped out into the downpour. "Excuse me," he called. "Need some help?" The woman turned, and Derek saw she was younger than he'd first thought, maybe early 30s. Her face was striking, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that assessed him quickly before softening with relief. "Yes, please. I've been trying for 10 minutes and I can't get the lug nuts loose. Let me take a look." Derek knelt beside the flat tire, rain immediately soaking through his dress pants, the ones he'd bought specifically for this interview. The lug nuts were on tight, requiring his full strength to loosen. He worked quickly, aware of every passing minute. 11:25, 11:30, 11:35. "You're getting soaked," the woman said, holding her small purse over his head in a futile attempt at shelter. "I'm so sorry. I called roadside assistance, but they said it would be over an hour. It's fine. Almost done." Derek wrestled the flat tire off and reached for the spare. "You're dressed for something important," she observed, noting his button-down shirt and tie, now thoroughly drenched. "Job interview. At noon downtown." Her eyes widened. "Oh no. You should go. I can finish from here. I'm not leaving you in the rain with half a tire change." Derek fitted the spare and began tightening the lug nuts in a star pattern, the way his father had taught him years ago. What kind of job? Software implementation specialist. Tech company called Meridian. Derek grunted with effort as he tightened the final nut. "That's a good company. You'll do great." Derek glanced at his watch. 11:47. His heart sank. Even if he left right now, there was no way he'd make it by noon. "I was supposed to do great," he said quietly, lowering the car off the jack. "But I'll be late now. The woman bit her lip, looking genuinely distressed. "I'm so sorry. This is my fault." "No." Derek stood, wiping his muddy hands on his already ruined pants. "It's the flat tire's fault. And I couldn't just drive past someone who needed help. My daughter wouldn't be proud of that." "You have a daughter?" "Emma. She's 10. Smartest kid in her class." Derek smiled despite everything. "She has a science fair next week. Been working on it for months." "What's her project about?" "Renewable energy, wind and solar. She wants to save the world." Derek picked up his tools. "Anyway, you're all set. Drive carefully. The spare isn't meant for high speeds." The woman reached for her designer purse. "Please, let me pay you, or at least give you money for dry cleaning. No need, just pay it forward sometime." Derek turned toward his car. "Wait," she called. "What's your name?" "Derek Martinez. I'm Natasha Klein. And Derek, I promise you, this won't be for nothing." Derek nodded and climbed back into his car. He pulled out his phone and dialed Meridian Tech's HR department with shaking hands. "Hi, this is Derek Martinez. I had an interview scheduled for noon with the hiring manager. I'm so sorry, but I'm running late. There was an emergency and I stopped to help someone. I know that's not professional, but I'm hoping I could reschedule." The woman on the other end sighed. "Mr. Martinez, the hiring manager has a very tight schedule. I'm not sure we can accommodate. Please. This job means everything to my family. I'm a single father and we're really struggling. I'll come in any time, any day. I'll make it work. Let me check and call you back." Derek sat in his car, rain still hammering down, and felt the weight of his choices. He'd done the right thing. He knew that. But the right thing might have just cost him the lifeline his family desperately needed. His phone rang 20 minutes later. Not Meridian Tech. An unknown number. "Hello, Mr. Martinez?" "Derek?" A smooth, professional voice. "This is Jennifer Ward. I'm the CEO of Meridian Technologies." Derek's stomach dropped. The CEO was calling to personally tell him he'd blown it. "Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry about..." "Don't apologize. I'm calling because someone very important just contacted me with a rather remarkable story about a man who stopped to help a stranger in the rain, even though it meant missing a crucial job interview." Derek's mind raced. "I don't understand. The woman you helped, Natasha Klein, is one of my oldest friends. She's also the CEO of Klein Industries, one of the largest venture capital firms in the city." Jennifer paused. "She called me personally to tell me about your kindness and to insist that I hire you immediately." "She's a CEO?" Derek's voice came out strangled. "Yes. And she's convinced me that anyone with your character is exactly the kind of person we need at Meridian." "The interview is a formality at this point, Mr. Martinez. The job is yours if you want it." Derek couldn't speak. He just sat there, water dripping from his hair, his phone pressed to his ear. "Mr. Martinez? Are you there? I'm here. I just can't believe this." "Believe it." "And Derek, Natasha asked me to tell you something else. She's establishing a scholarship fund in your daughter's name. Emma, right? For students interested in renewable energy. She was apparently very moved by your description of her." Tears mixed with rainwater on Derek's face. "Why would she do all this?" "Because, in her words, you reminded her why she got into business in the first place. To help people. To build something meaningful. She said you didn't hesitate for a second to help her, even when it cost you dearly. That kind of integrity is rare. When do you want me to start?" "How about next Monday? That gives you time to prepare and celebrate with your daughter." After he hung up, Derek sat in his car and cried. Not from stress this time, but from overwhelming relief and gratitude. That evening, he picked up Emma from Mrs. Patterson's house and took her to their favorite pizza place, a rare treat they couldn't usually afford. "Dad, you're smiling," Emma observed. "Did you get the job?" "I got the job!" Emma squealed and hugged him so tight he could barely breathe. "I knew you would. You're the best dad ever. There's more. A very important businesswoman wants to start a scholarship in your name for kids who care about renewable energy like you do." Emma's eyes went wide. "Really? Why?" "Because I helped her when her car broke down, and she wanted to help us back. That's what you always say, Dad. When we help people, good things happen." "Yes, sweetheart. That's exactly what I say." 3 weeks later, Derek stood outside a downtown office building, this time in a new suit that actually fit. He was meeting Natasha Klein for coffee, at her request. She arrived looking nothing like the rain-soaked woman he'd helped. Her business attire was impeccable, her confidence unmistakable, but her smile was warm and genuine. "Derek, thank you for meeting me. Thank you for changing my life." They sat in a corner booth, coffee between them. "I need to explain something," Natasha said. "That day, I wasn't just having car trouble. I was having a crisis of purpose. I'd just come from a meeting where I'd made a deal that would make me millions, but would also put 200 people out of work. She stirred her coffee slowly. I was sitting in my car questioning everything about who I'd become, wondering if success was worth the cost. Then I got the flat tire, and I stood in the rain feeling completely helpless. Everyone just drove past, dozens of cars, and not one person stopped. Until you did. You stopped even though it was clearly going to cost you something important. You got dirty and wet helping someone you didn't know, and when I offered money, you refused. You just wanted me to pay it forward. Natasha looked up at him. You reminded me that people matter more than profits. That character counts. That success without integrity is just expensive emptiness. What happened to that deal? Derek asked. I restructured it. Found a way to make it work that saved those jobs. It cost me some profit, but I can sleep at night now. She smiled. And I'm applying that principle to all my investments going forward. Natasha Klein is becoming known for ethical business practices. It's actually attracting better clients. I'm glad. But you didn't have to do all this for me. Yes, I did. Because you demonstrated the kind of person I want to be. The kind of person my company should support. Natasha pulled out a folder. Which brings me to why I asked to meet. I'd like to offer you something. Derek opened the folder and stared at the documents inside. It's a grant program I'm starting, full scholarships for children of single parents who are pursuing education in STEM fields. Emma will be one of the first recipients. Full ride through college, graduate school if she wants it. Derek's vision blurred. Natasha, I can't accept this. Yes, you can. Because it's not charity, it's an investment in the kind of people who make the world better. People like Emma. People raised by parents like you who teach them that kindness matters more than convenience. My daughter is going to be someone special, Derek said softly. Not because of money for school, but because she'll learn the lesson you taught me. What lesson? That sometimes the universe is just waiting to reward us for doing the right thing. That good people still exist. That one moment of kindness can change everything. 5 years later, Derek stood in the audience at Emma's high school science fair. At 15, she developed a prototype for a low-cost solar panel design that could bring electricity to impoverished communities. Natasha stood beside him, having become a family friend and mentor to Emma. She'd kept her promise, guiding Emma's education and fostering her passion for renewable energy. She's remarkable, Natasha whispered as Emma explained her project to the judges. She is, Derek agreed. You helped make that possible. No, you made that possible. By being the kind of father who stops to help strangers in the rain. By teaching her that success is measured in lives touched, not dollars earned. I just provided resources. You provided the foundation. Emma won first place that day. In her acceptance speech, she thanked her father for teaching her that helping others isn't a distraction from success, but the very definition of it. And she thanked a stranger who'd once stood in the rain with a flat tire, who'd shown her father that kindness creates ripples that spread farther than we ever imagine. Derek never forgot that rainy day when he'd missed his interview, not because of what he'd gained, though that was substantial, but because of what he'd learned, that sometimes the most important destination isn't the one we're rushing toward, but the one we find when we stop to help someone along the way. That character is revealed not in the moments when it's convenient, but when it costs us something. And that the best investments we make aren't in our own futures, but in the humanity we show to strangers who might just change our lives forever. The end. If this story reminded you that kindness is never wasted, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales about compassion and unexpected blessings. Comment below about a time you helped someone when it was inconvenient, or when a stranger's kindness changed your life. Your story might inspire someone else to stop when the world rushes past.